I just wanted to tell you that everything's gonna turn out fine and everything's gonna be just fine. So, you know, I've heard so many people talking about it, and when I used to be, I I used to be very negative, pessimistic person, and when I as that version of myself, and when I used to watch like people talking about like everything's gonna be turn out fine, everything's gonna be just fine, like I am doing right now, and I was getting upset every time I watch these videos. Every time I watch these videos back then, cause didn't feel like it, and I knew they're just not, and I knew it's not gonna be that way. You know, everything's gonna go wrong. That's what I used to constantly thinking. I used to constantly think everything's gonna go wrong, go bad, and like, you know, not gonna work out for me. That's what I used to think about literally everything. But now that I know, I'm not just saying that. I know for a fact everything's gonna turn out just fine and everything's gonna work out. Everything's gonna be just fine. But what I'm trying to say here is it's not, maybe the things maybe things gonna work out in a way it like it's not your way. Like, does that make sense? Like maybe thing is going to work out in a way you weren't expected and not in your way, but it is okay because, you know, we like to judge things, and now that I know like everything is like how can I put this? Like every single turn of like everything happens in your life, like turn of events are kind of like dots, you know, dots in your life, but it is actually connected like a string and like, you know, line. But every time something happens, so this is what I used to do, and I think most of people do this as well. But when things happen, like this dot happens, then I just see it and like, you know, perceive it and experience it and judge it by just like looking at this 1.1 dot. But what I just learned in my life is like it is actually connected to something, some sort of turn of events that's gonna happen in your future, in the future, and it is actually connected. But I was so used to judge things at a glance, you know, just looking at it from one direction, one angle, and I just judge it and I perceive it as negative thing and I perceive it as a bad thing, and I think, and then that will become the proof that everything is not going to work out for me, and that's why that became my belief and system, and that's what my nervous system was built around or built upon, like negative beliefs and pessimistic beliefs and perspective on life, or literally everything. So yeah, but now that I know, like, you don't need to judge, just seeing it, just experiencing that turn of event. And also it could work in your way, in your favor, so you don't even know. I don't know, who knows? But we don't get to know what and how and when and why things happen in life. So all you gotta do is just go with the flow and just let it happen. Just let everything happen and just go with the flow. So you know, I I always have the like some sort of vision or imagination or like scenario I want things to work. Did that make sense? Right? So and I always had that in my mind, in my brain. But a lot of the times it doesn't work that way, in my favor, and I think and I perceive it as things are not working in my way. I mean, no, things are not working out for me. But also, the lesson I learned in my life is another lesson I learned in my life is, not always or most of the time what you have in your mind, like, your scenario, your way is not the best way. So actually the universe, God, whatever you believe in, has so much better like plan for you, and it has bigger picture. So it knows what's best for you and for me, for us. So your way is not necessarily the best way. And to me, most of the time, the universe has better plan for me and bigger picture. So at this point, I just, decided to give in and surrender and let it do its job, and I'm here to just receive whatever the universe has to offer and give me. Yeah, the reason why I said not your scenario, your way is not necessarily the best way is because human being, like, this vessel is like limited. We have like biological limitation or restriction, I guess I could say. For example, the vision, when it comes to vision, like what we can see through our eyes, through your eyes, through the eyes is limited. Like, if there's like full spectrum of light is like this much, and we only can detect, or we are only get to see like out of like this much, 0.000000001%. I forgot the specific number as always, but that's what I heard. And when it comes to like auditory, like hearing, there's like range of sounds we only can detect through the ears, and that goes for, same thing goes for nose, like smell, and maybe taste and touch, sense also. I don't know, but yeah, we have, and the prediction machine we have, aka brain aka prediction machine, can think based off of or based on what happened in the past. So, and it can use imagination to anticipate and expect and imagine what's going to happen in the future, but that is not necessarily right, and it's actually based off of what happened in the past. I don't quote me on that, but that's what I heard and read. Yeah, so it is limited. The amount of information we can access through the brain is limited because our senses are limited, our vessel is limited, and with that limited amount of information we can gather through like 5 senses, and we build or we see reality and we create reality and think and think ahead. So, and that is limited, but but there's like unlimited, and there's infinite possibilities and ways to certain things or to work out. That makes sense. Like, the unknown, we can't, unseen, unknown, unheard, unsensed, I don't know what it is called, but what we cannot have access to through our 5 senses, but there's actually something exists out externally, but we can't see it, we can't smell it, we can't hear it, we can't sense it. But there is actually something exists external that's actually interesting, and in the unknown, possibilities and like ways and like everything is infinite and everything is limitless. But in the brain, in the brain, it is limited, like I said. So that's why I said the way you have in your mind is not necessarily the best way, because we don't know anything about anything. I know sometimes I feel I know about certain things, but it is actually not, like, compared to what we cannot access and what they have in there, like, for example, the universe. In the universe, there's like countless possibilities, ways, like so many wisdom we don't even have access to if you use the brain. I don't know if that made sense, but yeah. So I hope that made sense. That's why I said it is not the best way what you have in your mind, in your scenario. That's what I have learned throughout my journey. So now that is exactly why I can say, like, surely, definitely, absolutely, everything's gonna turn out just fine. It's not gonna be necessarily in your way, but it is okay, because there's, like, like I said, it is just a dot you see, and it is actually connected to something with string, like a string, and everything is connected to certain something. Like, we are just used to judge everything at a glance, and just looking at just this like small dot, and think it's bad, think it's sad, think it's negative, think it's not working out for you. But something greater, or the universe, God, like I said, whatever you believe in, has so much, they have the best plan for you, and it has better plan for you, and it has bigger picture. So just trust that. It is hard, and especially when I first time tried to just go with the flow, and I'm still figuring out, and I'm still trying to get used to the idea of going with the flow. And sometimes it feels weird, and sometimes, things take time, but it is happening for a reason. Literally everything happens for a reason. So I'm just, going with it, rocking with it. But, when I first time try to just go with the flow and let the universe do its job, and let me do my thing, do my job, which is like just live in the present moment as much as possible, it felt weird, and sometimes, you know, doubt creeps in and try to stop me from going with the flow, because it is foreign to me. That concept is foreign to me, and it is valid to feel that way. You know, there's always like pull back effect. I don't know what it's like, pulling back effect when you try to do something new or try to make a habit to do new things, because that's foreign and it feels uncomfortable and it's outside of your comfort zone. But it is actually, what is happening is like you are expanding your comfort zone, I guess I could say. So yeah, but that's out of topic. But I just wanted you to know that every single thing you are stressing about, and you are like, you know, getting anxiety by, or did that make sense? Or, you know, everything you are concerning about, and literally everything's gonna turn out just fine. And, you know, don't judge what happens in your life by looking at it, and by just looking at it at a glance, and, you know, just cut, like I said, it's actually connected, but you are just cut it down, cut this part apart, and just looking at it and judging it. But that is misjudgment, because there's actually connected to something in your future, or something greater, something better that's gonna happen for you in the future. I know it actually annoys me sometimes, because I just want to know everything in advance, and I just want to know the answers in advance, and I just want to know when, what, how things happen, and why things happen in my life. But that's not how it works, I guess, or we're not supposed to know, because that way the universe can keep the magic of life, or magic, you know, that way the universe can keep that turn of event, or that thing that you're gonna get, that you're about to get, or that you're gonna get in your future, like miraculous experience. Because just, you know, think about it, because when you just know what's gonna happen, when things gonna happen, and how things gonna happen in your future, if you knew everything in advance, and if you finally get it with knowing what everything, and it's not gonna be magical experience, it's not gonna be miraculous experience, right? Because you knew and you expected, and it just came as anticipated, as expected. So it's not fun if you knew everything, right? That's what I thought. Maybe that's why, you know, life is all about misinterpretation. That's, for me personally, what I believe. So, you know, you can, you know, you get to choose how, you know, you can choose how and what you interpret things. Did that make sense? Like, you know, it's up to you. So that's my way to interpret things. That's why everything is secret. The things I want to know, actually, but it is a secret for a reason. Maybe for it to be miraculous, magical experience for me. That's what I believe. So yeah, I just wanted you to know that, once again, I just wanted you to know that every single thing, everything is going to turn out just fine, and everything's gonna be alright. I know it sounds cliche, and you know, it's not believable. Is that a word? You know, I know it's foreign. It feels foreign to you because if you are not used to think it that way, but it is valid. But I'm 100% sure everything's gonna turn out just fine. And yeah, don't stress about anything too much, and let the universe, God, whatever you believe in, do everything for you, and just go with the go with the flow. And yeah, and that way everything's easy, you know. But at the end of the day, you get to choose whatever you choose to believe. And if you want to go like harder route, then you can do it. But if you want like ease route, and that you can also do, so it's up to you. But yeah, thank you so much for watching today's video, and I appreciate it, and I appreciate you, and I genuinely hope you have wonderful, mystical, awesome, genuinely, truly wholesome, wonderful, miraculous morning, day, lunchtime, bedtime, evening, weekend, weekday, whenever you're watching this video, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching, and I love you so much, and I will talk to you soon, very soon.